incredibly beautiful is this apartment. I am in Oslo. Very lucky, my friend Hattie lives here. We've known each other for 10 years. We met at uni and we don't get to see each other that often now because she lives in Norway and I live in London, and it's my first time visiting her. I've never been to Oslo, I've never been to Norway, so I'm really excited to explore, and I'm really hoping that I can find some boaty things to do. I'm sure I will be able to find some boaty things to do, but I've only got a couple of days. It's a really short trip, so we're gonna have to squeeze a lot in, which means that I can't stand around talking. Hattie's at work right now. I'm going to meet her in a bit, but first I'm just gonna have a little mooch. I've heard there's some nice botanical gardens around the corner, a river walk with waterfalls. I've been taking more and more trips in the last couple of years, and a few of those trips I'm on my own, and a lot of those trips I organise myself, and I usually do so much research. I usually know exactly what I'm doing. I have a plan, I have an itinerary, or at least a loose idea of what a place has to offer. But I haven't done any of that for Oslo because I've got Hattie. I'm really excited to see what she has in store for me, because for once I'm not the person organising. Never in my life have I smelt elderflower. It smells that strong. Never mind. Let's try again, shall we? What is it about robots, especially robots with jobs? I find them so cute. They're adorable. Just mowing his lawn. He's not even getting paid, he's just enjoying himself. I really love that tradition of putting locks on bridges. I put a photo of this on my Instagram and I was asking you guys to guess where I was in the world, and a lot of you said Paris, and I think it's because of these locks. I went to a really interesting talk recently that was saying how these locks are basically like a little love spell. Traditionally you would carve your initials, so that's like a sigil of sorts. You would lock it onto the bridge or wherever you lock it, and then you throw the key into the water. How is that not a spell? I love these little instances of like everyday ritual and everyday magic that's just woven into the culture, and people don't think it's weird because we already do it. This river and all the waterfalls are running right through the city, by the way. It's so nice because it looks really naturey. Like you look at the river and you could be just in the middle of the forest somewhere. And some of the waterfalls are really quite impressively high as well. So sweet that we've like built something for the salmon to swim on. Like, here you go, little buddy, let me help you out. Definitely couldn't hear what I was saying over the thundering sound of Nedrafoss, which is the waterfall that I was just at. But basically, I was saying that the sort of brutalist looking concrete obstacle course slalom that runs alongside the waterfall is actually a salmon ladder, because the city planners have even thought about the salmon because they can't jump over that huge waterfall unless the conditions are just right. So we've built a way for them to get up it easily. So what's the significance of the penis swan?
I have no idea what he's about. He's just there. It's kind of like an arty kind of weird area.
Everyone's got their sketchbooks out and they're all drawing that penis swan. Listen, it just simply doesn't seem right to sleep in a city that never really gets dark. If you need to wait for pitch black darkness before you fall asleep, you'll be waiting forever here, at least in summer, because at 1 AM it was still dusk, and then by 2 AM it's basically sunrise again. Let me take you into the light, because this, I know I'm delicate, but let's not do ourselves dirty. So I would be tempted to say that yesterday was like a write-off in terms of touring the city and seeing the sights, but when you're with someone who lives here, you actually get to see the real place. You get to see the people who live here. You get to see what, you know, they're doing on a Friday night, and you get to ask them your questions. So as much as I didn't go and see any museums or like city halls or, you know, do anything touristy, I did speak to a lot of Norwegian people and a lot of non-Norwegian people who live here. I got to ask them my questions and I got to learn all about the city from them rather than from just like walking around, which is a different dynamic. And I definitely think that when it comes to travel and learning about a new place, I love learning about the history and like walking around, but I also like learning about what it's like to live there, what it's like now. And you only really get that from the inhabitants themselves. So it was really valuable, and it was really fun, and I need to get ready for the day because time is ticking on my 2 or 3 days in Norway. My eyes look tiny. I need to wake myself up. You can see in the background the remnants of the party yesterday. But I have this little book with me. I'm not sure why I had it in my bag, but it's just a little notebook that I carry around. And some people that I met last night have left notes for me. I have no idea who's written these. Trees. Trees grow in their own way. Air is no barrier because we all find our way. Very nice poem. Anyway, I think we are going to the islands today, which I'm sure will involve a boat. Oh my god, that's so cute.
Skål!
One thing that is really so different here is the culture and the rules around alcohol. First of all, you need to remortgage your house to buy any alcohol. It's incredibly expensive, but so is everything else, so it's kind of in keeping. I need to ask Hattie about these rules because I don't know if I've got them straight in my mind. As far as I have it right in my head, you can only buy spirits and wine from these special, basically alcohol monopolies, like special shops where you go and buy stronger alcohol. And you can buy like beer and cider in supermarkets and stuff, but there's no wine, there's no spirits. And in the supermarket you can only buy beer up until I think 8 p.m. on weekdays and 6 p.m. on a Saturday, something like that. But this special shop is only open until 3 p.m. on a Saturday. So if you're having a party and you forget to buy your booze by Saturday afternoon, that's it. You can't buy any spirits. And I think although the legal age of drinking is 18 here, for stronger alcohol, like spirits, you have to be 20. Obviously very different to the UK where drinking is not only encouraged, it feels mandatory at times.
Vin monopoly.
Vin monopoly.
Vin monopoly. Well, yeah. It's the wine monopoly. They have the monopoly on the wine. But actually what people were saying, it was like, everyone who works there is so specialised and they know what they're talking about. So if you were like, I just need a wine that will go with this, and this, the customer service is really good there.
Yeah.
If they don't have something in that you need specifically, they can order it in for you.
What, like anything?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like a melon liqueur, please. Yeah, I like
get it
that.
for you.
And the alcohol prices aren't as crazy as I thought. Like in Bali, comparative to everything else, like liquor prices in Bali are really expensive. They're like as much as the UK, maybe even slightly more, depending on where you get it from, because everything's imported.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, a lot of it's like is imported as well.
I was just surprised, I think, how much there is a drinking culture here, considering that the laws are quite strict.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh, people don't really drink as much.
No, I mean, it's a huge thing for social things. And like, there's always like, you have the Vosh, which is like a pre-party, and then you have Nush, which is after party.
What's the party? Osh.
Yeah,
Vosh?
The Vosh.
Osh?
Vosh and Nosh. Well, the funny thing is there's this concept called utepils, which is like when you can first in the year sit outside and have a beer.
Yeah.
It's literally outside beers. But it's like a whole concept. Like everyone's like, oh, utepils. Like they just like, as soon as it's sunny enough and warm enough to sit outside and have a beer, oh my god, summer has begun. It kind of ties in with that whole sun wall thing as well, which I can't remember the name for it. But yeah, even in the winter, like if you can get a little sunny spot where the sun is like hitting you, you're just like, oh.
Our architecture is definitely not engineered for the weather.
No.
When I went to Amsterdam, like obviously their whole thing is like massive windows on those facades.
Yeah.
Apparently the reason for that is that to have less weight because everything's sinking. So if they have more windows, it's
Lighter than having more budget bricks.
yeah.
Everyone's swing dancing.
Oh my god, that's so cute. So all these little houses on the islands, no one lives there full time, they're like summer houses.
Summer cabins, yeah. And then you can only paint them those specific colours, like red, yellow, green, and blue. That's why they look so cute.
That's really cute.
Oh, nice bell.
Oh yeah, good bell. Oh, that's a bit scary though, that bell.
Yeah.
That's gonna drop
How
on you.
much compensation do you think you'd get if that bell fell on your head?
I think you would be dead. You wouldn't be receiving no compensation.
Good morning. I'm back here at Akerbrugge. I'm not very good at speaking Norwegian. I'm here at the main harbour bit where all the boats go because I'm getting on a boat. I'm going to go and explore the fjords. And my boat leaves in 10 minutes, so I've got to go. I didn't even really understand what a fjord is. Freshwater fjords and seawater fjords, inland fjords, fjords on the coast. So I was just a bit confused about what constitutes a fjord. And it seems to be a valley that is filled with water. And most of the fjords on the northwest of Norway have been created by glaciers. But Oslo fjord is slightly different because apparently that was created by plates moving. And it's really interesting because it's sort of like a loop shape. It feels like you're on a big lake because everywhere you look there is land, but there is a route to the sea about 100 kilometers from Oslo. This place is so beautiful, it's a joke. It is a bit noisy because there are people here, but it's not crowded. 20 minutes on the metro outside of the centre of Oslo. It's a really sunny day and got people here, but it's definitely not busy. But the way that sound travels across the water, you probably can hear people and wind and leaves. But this is absolutely stunning. And it's really making me want to take my boat back out of London and back into the countryside. I mean, I've never seen anything like this while I'm living alongside the canal. Not quite like this anyway. Definitely seen a lot of beautiful nature, both up the Grand Union and up the Lee, but it's not quite as people friendly as this. Anyway, it still really makes me crave not being in the city. And the swings and roundabouts, you know, because most of my friends live in the city, I'd really have to weigh that up. I actually don't work from home full time. I am in the office 2 days a week, which is one reason why I've been floating around London for the last couple of years. But maybe there's something that I can do there. Yeah, this definitely has me craving getting out in the countryside more. Boat journey that I went on this morning was so lovely. Gave us loads of information, so I've learned a lot about Oslo. Did already know this, but would you believe there is actually a very direct link between my life on the narrowboat and Norway. So last year I visited the Canal Museum because I'm really cool. I learned that one thing that the Regent's Canal was used for was transporting ice by a narrowboat, and in fact the Canal Museum itself is built atop of the ice bunker. I'm not sure what you call it. The ice cellar, which is where they stored the ice basically for the whole of London before we had proper freezers and refrigeration. They would harvest the ice from Norway. They even said on the boat this morning that they would harvest them from here, from Oslo fjord, take it all the way to London via, I guess, ship across the North Sea. Then they would take the ice in big blocks along the Regent's Canal, and it would sit there in that ice bunker, keeping itself cold. Like it didn't melt. It lasted for months and months and months before it had to be replenished, because it just keeps itself cold. Yeah, it's a very strange link between what I'm doing here and where I usually live. A loose link maybe, but a link all the same. I've got to get my plane tomorrow and I'm very sad. I would love to stay longer. One thing that I love is how light it is. And I know it's dark for, 6 months of the year, but in summer, I've never really experienced that before, being somewhere where it just doesn't get dark. And it's one thing that really fascinated me when I was in Bali, because in Bali you're on the equator and it gets dark at 6:30 and it gets light again at 5:30. There's no like super long drawn out sunsets like we have in the UK. It's like someone turning a light off. The sunsets seem to last about 15 minutes. So yeah, I'm weirdly fascinated by that. And the alcohol situation, we had assumed was something to do with the long dark winter and alcoholism problems, but it seems to be just kind of like cultural. I don't think that was ever implemented with that particularly in mind. So I think now it's just become a cultural thing, and I actually quite like it, because those Vinopplats. I really struggle with Norwegian words, I don't know why. Anyway, I need to get back into the city now. Is at work, so before I carry on with my day, I'm going to meet her for an early lunch, and we're going to have a pølse, which is some kind of sausage, vegetarian sausage for us. The opera house. I'm having to squint because the marble that it's made of, some kind of Italian imported marble, is like so bright. And apparently the shape of it is built to mimic like an iceberg sliding into the sea or emerging from the sea. All of those floating cabins are floating saunas.
Tonight, you
hand up. And I just found a really long hair on my neck. Where's it gone?
Oh my god.
Looks like blood. Look at my pink cheeks.
Yeah,
I've definitely caught the sun.
Look at that. I am red in the face.
I am a pink Percy pig.
The Hadriatic.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
Laura, my darling, you are divine. This is Hattie, your favourite. And then you hear the seagulls. Vinmonpalats.
Oh my god, look at that.